So I hope I can share with you the slides, but I don't think I can because the screen share is disabled. Okay, so anyways, my topic today is all about managing or uh, finding out if you're actually going through a betrayal or abuse through your own BaZi chart. Especially if you're not sure or certain if you're actually going through a relationship that is betrayal, because sometimes when a person is being abused or getting betrayed, the first question that they ask themselves is, am I doing something wrong? Now, this video will help you find out that if you find some indicators linked in your body chart, this helps you find out that there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that there's something wrong with the relationship. Okay, so I'll before I go dive into the the rationale why I came about this video is because my husband and I were when we were going through lockdown, and we were reading some articles about relationships, and we read there that during the lockdown there are a lot of relationships that are going through some separation or were pursuing into divorce or annulment. And then another article was that there are relationship wherein the abuse was heightened due to the lockdown. This topic has been, and basically my husband suggested that I should actually cover this topic. This has been a topic that's been waiting to happen. It's just that I was not able to find an opportunity since this is a very sensitive topic. But anyways, basically that's the rationale. It's been a consideration of mine for 2 months since the lockdown. It's just I don't know how to explain, but finally, I was able to create a slide, but I don't know if I can share it with you. But anyways, um there are two types of the topics that I would like to cover, which is the betrayals and abuse. And of course, the betrayals and abuse, we are going to tackle the natal chart wherein we look at the day master. We look at the center. I hope you can see this because there's no screen share. But basically, what we're going to look at is the day master. I hope you are familiar with your day master. When we look at the natal chart, this is actually falls under the day master. I hope I'll be able to show it with you, but I don't think I can because because the screen share is disabled. I don't know why. It's disabled. I don't know why, but this is disappointing. But anyways, I'll share with you in the caption or in the caption box of where to find your day master. So the point of comparison whether or not your relationship is going through an abusive relationship or you're going through a betrayal, we actually put at center point is the day master. I will put the image of what is the day master and where to actually find it, including the link of how to actually plot your chart. So bear with me. I'm just going to do this in verbal form because I cannot share um, the slides because it's disabled. I don't understand. But anyway, we're going to put in comparison the day master, and then we're going to compare it to your month, and then the year, and then the hour. So basically, the one thing that I first want to explain to you, what's the difference between betrayal and abuse? Betrayal is a position or a part of a relationship where the intent of trying to cheat on someone with another person. Okay, wherein a third party is involved in the expense of another person, which is your spouse or your partner. Abuse, on the other hand, is somewhere in wherein the other partner is feeling frightened or threatened because of the cruelty that's being done by the other partner. Okay, I hope I'm making sense. If I could have shown the slides, it'd be easier to understand. But I'm summarizing it so we can actually go direct to the point of this discussion. But anyway, so abuse and betrayal is different. The betrayal is wherein cheating or a person, a third party is involved in order wherein in the expense of the other person, while the abuse is happening wherein the person feels threatened or there's no sense of security. Now, there are two parts of every abuse and betrayal. There's physical and emotional. It doesn't necessarily mean that when someone is betrayed, that there is um, physical intercourse, okay? And so, thus, to being abused, it doesn't mean that someone has to be battered before you actually fall under the abuse. Okay, so just to explain the difference between the physical and emotional, for the betrayal, when we talk about betrayal, there is an example that I can actually give you is the website actually Madison. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but basically the rationale behind this website is wherein all married individual convene in this website and they interact with one another, but then without the without any physical interaction. So there is the intent of cheating, but there is no physical intimacy involved. So that explains the difference between the physical and emotional. When someone is a third party is still involved, but doesn't necessarily mean that there is intimate relations. I'm not sure, I'm not very familiar with this, but what happens is that they actually interact through text or chat and so on and so forth. And then because of that, the person is actually still cheating because this involves another person. And what happens if you're trying to betray your partner, your current relationship now is affected, okay, and you're disengaged. You no longer want to interact with your current wife or your spouse or significant someone because you're much more into the third party relationship. I really am disappointed I cannot show you the slides because this gives an explanation and makes everything easy to understand. But so basically that's the different that's the explanation of the betrayal. Abuse, on the other hand, an example would be Mandy Moore that she actually experienced. She actually explained that her husband was never physically abusive to her, but was abusive emotionally. Wherein, what Ryan Adams, according to allegedly, what Mandy Moore indicated is that Brian Adams was actually very manipulative and cunning or conniving, or was what he was doing is he was downplaying the skills of Mandy Moore, and because of that, Mandy Moore lost her identity in the process of that relationship, and she no longer pursued to become the person that she's been wanting to be since she was a child, because she's been a star since she was young, and because of her husband, she downplayed her abilities just to make the husband happy. So that's an example of abusive emotional relationship, wherein another is you would always feel that you're always at fault, even if it's not. Um, you no longer see yourself as with self-worth, and your self-esteem is downplayed. Everything that you want to pursue, it's always criticized, okay, or doubted. Another, that's just an indicator, okay, for when you have an abusive or relationship. If you want to learn more, I'm not really an expert when it comes to these things. Do some research, and if you would like to learn more about Mandemore, it's also best to actually do some read about articles of what she actually went through, just to explain the difference between physical and emotional. So it doesn't actually have to be that there should be a physical abuse and before you fall under the abusive relationship. Now, in terms of betrayal and abuse, this doesn't know any language. I'm sorry, not just doesn't know any gender. Okay, there's no sexism when it comes to this, because we'll be tackling identifiers in terms of a BaZi chart of a woman, of a male, and even for same-sex genders. So it basically doesn't limit the kind of what abuse is, or who it abuses, or who it betrays. I hope I'm making sense in that aspect. Okay, now the reason why this is actually important, when we want to achieve something in life, one thing is for certain, we actually have to continuously create and produce, give of value to others. Okay, so that's one step for you to become so significant. And when you become so significant to the people around you, you're always needed and opportunities will come. The problem is if your partner or your home is not as peaceful as it should be, it affects the way you create. It affects the way you perform. It affects the way you relate to life. It affects the way you see your goals. Okay, so which is why it's very, very important to pick your partner from the beginning before you pursue anything in life. Now, if you're actually caught in this relationship right now and you cannot get out, then basically this video will help you find out if you are indeed going through a betrayal and abuse. And this will actually give you clarity of what are the steps that you can do to probably move forward or to get out if you are actually going through an abusive relationship or a betrayal. Okay, so all right, so now we're done with the explanation with the physical and betrayal abuse. The next that we actually want to talk about is what are the indicators in your chart. There are two things that I want you to find out if you have harms or bullying punishment. Now, the harms and bullying punishment is a combination of animals that you can actually find in your chart if you have this in your natal or your monthly or year. I hope I really could see this one. I'll be showing you another year, so the month and the year. If you can find the harm relationship, I'll give you all the animals that falls under the harm and the bullying punishment. If you can find them in your month and your year, then this actually indicates that you have potential of getting betrayed or abused that's caused by someone else. Okay, when you can find this in your day and the hour, this actually means that there is a potential for you to be the abuser or the betrayer. Okay, so I hope that explains. Don't worry, I will actually put them in the caption. Anyway, so what are the animals that actually falls under the harm? Okay, this is if you can find horse and ox in your natal chart, this is an example of a harm. If you can actually find snake and tiger in your natal chart, this is an example of a harm. Another is dragon and rabbit, rat and goat, monkey and pig, and rooster and dog. Now, what is a harm that you might ask? What is a harm and what does it do? Okay, harm is an event, okay, that actually is brought to you by surprise. And usually when this happens, it's something that's so painful, or it can actually even cause physical pain. Okay, so physical pain and emotional pain. And this one is not your cause. It's something that you did not expect. Okay, it just befalls you because of those combination of animals. Okay, so if you have them in your animal, this act in your natal chart, you can expect these surprising events that are painful. It's not even your fault, and it just happened. Okay, so that's an example that I want you to find in your natal chart, because if you can also find this in your partner, if you can find this in your natal chart, there is a potential for your partner to actually treat you this way, where it's something surprising, you never saw this coming, you never expected your partner to actually cheat on you, something like that. Another indicator when it comes to your natal chart is the bullying punishment. This, on the other hand, is all about cause and effect. Now, when we talk about cause and effect, this could actually mean the things that you did not do or the things that you actually did. And the effect is something catastrophic. Now, if you see this relationship, this can actually happen. Now, an example would be someone if you're when before we marry anybody, of course we start first with dating. Okay, an example would be for bullying punish. We start first with dating them, and then we discover that during our dating life with this partner, that this person is quite violent. Okay, or whenever she gets mad, it's too extreme. And yet, despite these indicators, you still pursued in marrying this person. This is an example of a bullying punishment. You did not do, it basically based on the things that you did not do, even if there are indicators. Now, if you can find this in your chart, in your partner's chart, that it causes the bullying punishment, then yes, this is basically telling you that you're not thinking it, you are actually going through it, that you're going through an abusive or a betrayal kind of relationship. Okay, so what are the animals that involve when it comes to bullying punishment? This could be the goat and ox. Goat. This is three at a time. So goat, ox, and dog. Now half of it can still fall under the bullying punishment. Now if you have the three, then basically it's much more intense, the feeling. So basically, again, just to reiterate, the harms is something that bestowed to you without your fault. The bullying punishment happens to you, on the other hand, because of the things that you did not or did do. It's basically cause and effect. Another example of the bullying punishment is the snake, monkey, and tiger. So if you can find this in your natal chart along with your luck pillar, this is an indication that you're actually going through a bullying punishment. Next is the rabbit and rat. These are examples of bullying punishment, and once again, the harm is something that's surprising or something that you did not expect, and then the bullying punishment is the result of your own actions, whether you did it or not, okay, or you did something. Okay, so next, when it comes to your the chart of your partner, or even your chart, you can find this out. If one way also to find out if, say for instance, you're a male and you want to check your chart, is you can, if you can see that there's too much rob wealth. Rob wealth is actually the destroyer of direct wealth. Direct wealth represents the spouse. This is for heterosexual male. And if you want to find out that if you have too much rob wealth, this actually destroys the direct wealth. Now, what happens if you have too much rob wealth? What happens is that there's lack of affinity when it comes to the relationship. Doesn't necessarily mean, though, automatically that the relationship is abusive. But there are still instances wherein there are examples that I've read in some BaZi chart that when we have too much rob wealth, it's either uh, their lack of affinity, or the girl is abusive, or the wife is abusive, or depending if you have the rob wealth in your hour and your day, or vice versa. Okay, so if you're a male and you're heterosexual, if you have too much rob wealth, this actually affects the direct wealth. For women, on the other hand, if you want to check that you have if you have, if you lack affinity when it comes to your partner, if you have too much hurting officer, if you have too much hurting officer in your chart, this actually affects the direct officer. Direct officer represents the husband. Okay, so when you have too much hurting officer, to some, yes, the husband becomes so violent and so aggressive to the point it becomes an abuse. Okay, so that's an example. Another is if you are in the same sex relationship, what you want to check is if your partner has too much seven killings. If too much seven killings, this actually means that the affinity with the partner is disrupted, because the seven killings disrupts the friend, and friend represents partnership when it comes to same-sex relationship. Okay, so that's an example. All right, so and then the next one is if you have a funyin, if you find that your partner has your funyin, your funyin, your own day master, and your relationship or your partner has your fanyin or fanyin. Now, what do I mean by that? Like, say for instance, that your day master is a sin chow, meaning it's a yin metal ox. Okay, your day master is yin metal ox. What you want to find out if your partner's day master has your fan yin. Now, what is your fan yin for the sin ox or yin metal ox? What is the fan yin? For yin metal, it's actually ding wei. Okay, what does that mean? It's yin fire goat. Why? Because the sin metal, what destroys the sin metal is fire, and that's ding fire. Okay, and that's for the heaven. I'm so sorry I cannot give you the image. It's not working really, the sharing. But anyway, so just to summarize, I hope you get to understand what I'm saying. And just keep on playing this if you can. So anyways, so the fun yin for the sin chow or the yin metal ox is ding wei, and that is yin fire goat. Okay, because this the what destroys the sin metal or the yin metal is ding fire. Okay, and what is a clash, which actually happens, which creates a half bullying punishment, is goat and ox. I don't know if you remember what I mentioned earlier, but basically that's a combination. So basically for sin show, for you to create to find out what your funyin is ding chow. I sorry, ding wei. I hope I'm not confusing you, but anyways, so that's how you actually find out the funyin and fuyin. There's a lot of meaning when you actually find a funyin in terms of forecasting, but it when you have the funyin as your partner, this doesn't mean that they're bad person. It's just that the relationship may make you feel like anything that you do doesn't move, doesn't progress, no matter how hard you try, to make that relationship better or make yourself better, it doesn't work out. Okay, so that's what happened when you have or meet actually someone that has a fun yin. Now, if the now first people do not have a abusive relationship or betrayal relationship, you might be asking, well, I don't see any indicators, but yet my affinity with my husband is not good. Then I actually created a video in my group where it indicates the what do you call this, the things that you can actually find out what are the interests of your partner. Okay, the problem in most relationship, the reason why it becomes, even if they have this perfect combination in terms of babazi chart, and yet there's a lack of affinity, it's the reason why that there are still arguments is because both partners seek the happiness through the actions of their own partners. This shouldn't be the case. In order for someone to be happy, it should come from yourself. Do not seek the or you know yeah, do not seek your happiness through the actions of your partner, because it becomes unfair. uh, First of all, your partner cannot understand how you think and what you love, and on top of that, he or she may not understand your love language. So the happiness should actually come from you and from within. And then if you want the relationship to actually fix, is that you have to help him fill his cup. While your cup is full, what you want to do is now fill his cup, and when you keep on filling his cup, and because he loves you, he will fill your cup back. But do not seek the happiness from their actions. So if they make a mistake, what happens is you resent them for the mistake that they did because they did not do your expectation. And expectation is always the thing that ruins relationship. So that's the thing that I wanted to explain. If you're not going through any abusive and you think that he's not the right partner because of disagreement, why not check your expectation? Is it something that that's even remotely possible to fulfill? Are you even looking for a perfect relation? There's no such thing. At the end of the day, both relationship is give and take. Now, for the people that are going through an abusive, if you are going through an abusive or betrayal kind of relationship, this is basically, this points out to you that this is not your fault. This is what's it's actually the relationship that's actually causing you this way. So I hope that you actually find the courage to step up, to get out of it if you're actually going through an abusive or betrayal kind of relationship, and if you really want to get out. Now, one way to actually give you the confidence that you need if you're actually seeking that kind of confidence, what you can actually activate in your space is the North for 2020, which is the Flying Star 3. Okay, so there. I don't know. There's no. I don't know if somebody's watching. But anyways, if you have any comments or clarification, just comment in the video. I thank you so much for watching. I have two viewers. Thank you so much. It's my first time to do my live, and I thank you for spending time with me. All right. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something today. Bye.